Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Friday, April 26, 2024. Happy Venus's Day to you. And look over here at our overview. We've got the Taurus season, we've got the Celtic tree month of Willow, we have the waning moon, but no more mentions of the Mercury retrograde. Doesn't it feel nice? Open up this video of a morning and not see that Mercury retrograde label anymore. We must enjoy it. Now, our astrology for today. The sun is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. The moon is in third quarter Sagittarius, mutable fire, representing optimism. Mercury is in Aries, cardinal fire, representing alertness. Venus is in Aries, cardinal fire, representing being impulsive. Mars is in Pisces, mutable water, representing curiosity. Jupiter is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, representing nostalgia. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing renovation. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, representing imagination. Pluto is in Aquarius, fixed air, representing reformation. So we are in the waning gibbous phase of the moon, which means we need to release that which does not serve and show gratitude for that which we enjoy and have received. The Sagittarius moon means that we do need to converse, we do need to be philosophical, and we do need to get out into the great outdoors. Some things we should avoid are the cramped spaces, unsolicited advice, both giving and taking, and bickering for bickering's sake. So, day of Venus, we have an Aries Venus and a Sagittarius moon, and that brings an atmosphere of spontaneity to the day. So if you've been thinking of surprising your sweetie pie, maybe whisking them away for the weekend or giving them a little gift they weren't expecting, or just treating them, making them feel pampered and special in some way, this is a really good moment to try something new. Show them, remind them how special they are to you in your life, and just kind of make use of this spontaneous energy. Maybe you have no plans at all. You just say, "What do you want to go do something?" and just go out and do it, whatever that thing happens to be. The energy conditions are really good for that today. Next up, we have our tarot card, the Four of Stones, which is all about protection. So in order to have protection, part of that involves good preparation, which means we need to cultivate endurance, knowing that hardships will come our way, so that we aren't expecting any protection that we might be able to obtain for ourselves, or any kind of divine protection. We're not expecting it to do more than it really will. We should have determination, the determination to get through difficulties, and to trust that we have taken the steps we can take. And of course, we also need to cultivate confidence, knowing that when we do face obstacles, that they're not the end of the world, they're not the end of everything. This does not mean that the whole of your life is going to be determined by this one thing. And then, of course, the challenge to doing all of this and for gaining the good points of that protection without focusing upon, it's inadequate, I'm still feeling uncomfortable, why aren't I being protected? Well, you probably are. It's just not, a full service, nothing will bother you kind of protection. And it doesn't need to be, and it shouldn't have to be. So the challenge to accepting that is learning to develop that long-term vision, learning to develop some self-discipline, and remembering to do your part, not expecting external influences or external circumstances to do all the work for you. You've got to put something and invest something of yourself into this as well. All right, next up, we have a Celtic triad, which reads, 3 things which the cruel obtain: torturing conscience, dispraise of the wise, and the wrath of the mighty ones. So no one can escape the pangs of conscience, even when someone gets very good at ignoring their conscience, that they think they've got it really good and dulled and it's not bothering them. That conscience is still active. It's still in operation. It will wreak havoc on them in other ways, oftentimes in debilitating physical health, or in mental or emotional imbalances, even going to the point of actual mental illness. So yeah, no one gets to escape conscience. When it comes to the dispraise of the wise, that means people who are cruel are going to receive deserved criticism and censure for their misdeeds. If someone is cruel, particularly for with no justification whatsoever. You can't expect people to look up to that or praise it or want anything to have to do with you. And then the Wrath of the Mighty Ones. I think this triad is a pretty good reminder for us that the gods do not take kindly to the deliberate infliction of pain. What is the purpose of all of our mythologies in which the gods have shown, you can get yourself into bad situations, and as in consequence, these bad results can happen to you. And I think that's one of the reasons why the gods feature so heavily in the myths. I think the message is more so, rather than the failing of particular deities, I think that's kind of a surface level, perhaps juvenile way of looking at the myths. I think they're more saying that if you have a particular temperament, you can be more prone to particular mistakes, which will lead in these undesirable outcomes. And I think the message is that if this can happen to the gods, then it definitely can and will happen to humans. One of the things that keeps us as human beings, continuously getting into trouble is because we get the "it can't happen to me" or "it won't happen to me" or "I will get away with it," that kind of nonsense stuck in our heads. And one of the major teaching points of mythology is no, you won't. No, you won't. You will get your comeuppance in some way or form. It absolutely will happen. And if you refuse to learn your lesson, that is only going to extend the amount of pain that you experience. So, I think we could benefit from a lot of contemplation on today's triad. Perhaps we should start mailing these triads to politicians, see how long it takes for them to get the point. But moving on, our magical intention today is romance. For that, we have the color pink, the plant rose, the animal cardinal, and the crystal pink diamond. So a question you might ask yourself, for those who are married or for those who have been in a committed relationship for a long time, are you doing your part to fan the flames? Are you keeping the romance alive? Of course, as time goes on, you're not going to have the butterflies of the early days of your romance. But that doesn't mean that you do not have an inherently romantic relationship. It just means that, sometimes you need to make sure that you're adding fuel to that fire, that you're making sure it does not go out, and that you were reminding this person that of course you are still attracted to them. And I think as we get older, that it becomes more and more important for marriage mates to really continuously to affirm because as you get older, you lose your looks. That's just part of the process of aging. That's just a reality of it. So of course you're not going to be beautiful and handsome and attractive to all and sundry, but you should still be beautiful and attractive to your spouse, to someone who isn't just looking at your physical form, but who are looking at the person within, the person with whom they have so much history and they've built up such a life with. And I think it's important for people to remind each other that, yes, I still see you in that light. I still desire you in that way, because it isn't about the external, even though, the parts of the external that are well preserved, I'm sure that's always very well appreciated. But that isn't essentially what they're attracted to. They are attracted to who they are. So I'm sure I'm sure all of us could make improvements in this regard. Now for our daily practices, we might honor a deity associated with very strong friendships, take the chance to reconnect with an old friend, treat your spouse, maybe make them their special dessert with a little bit of magical intention infused into it. And of course, refocus on the family, maybe play a board game with your kids, or, whatever kind of family fun that you do. Reconnect with your children. You do not have their attention for very long. You need to make sure that you are forming strong bonds now while you can. Because if you try to do this work when they're in their teens or when they're adults, it's going to be so much harder. And then you might keep a little bit of rose quartz in the bedroom to, of course, encourage that atmosphere of romance. Today's Fae of the day is Notice, Lord of the South and Fire, essentially the Lord of the South Wind, and also of the origin of fire, which is, fire elemental. So if the fire elemental should decide to bless you in some way, how would you make use of that energy? Something to talk about in your journal. And that is what I have for you, gang. Come tomorrow for another edition of the Daily Forecast. In the meantime, leave your comments of what you thought of this one down below, or send me an email at brigantiablackbird@protonmail.com, and we can have a bit of a chat there. But that'll do it for right now, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.